To our very first story, and lecturer at the Ghana School of Medicine and Dentistry, Professor Alex Dodu, is making a second appearance before Parliament's Privileges Committee. He is to be questioned over alleged remarks he made describing MPs as ignorant. Let's take you to Parliament now, where we are told the sitting has begun.
Cast in that meeting, and from the point of view of our advisors, the technical advisory committees, the answers they provided were satisfactory, and they went ahead and advised us to go ahead and give approval. So the peers and some fellows of the academy met the academy and discussed these same matters in the meeting that was held on the 3rd of July. Is it July? June, on the 3rd of June, sorry, Mr. Chairman. There was a meeting. The meeting was chaired by the Chief Director of the Ministry of Health.
But Mr. Mukhtari, if all this took place, why did the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences go out with a press statement raising these very issues?
Mr. Chairman, I will not be able to answer that question.
Fine. And that is what we, as a public, will be concerned about. That's why I asked you, won't it arouse my concern as a layman?
Mr. Chairman, that is what I have said. These concerns were brought to the notice.
I'm talking about the Ghanaian public, not you, the experts.
But as the Chief Executive Officer of the Food and Drugs Authority, Hudu Mukhtari, testifying before Parliament's Privileges Committee. And indeed, it has to do with the comments allegedly passed by Professor Alex Dodu in relation to members of Parliament being ignorant. I can now take you back to Parliament for some more feed on that.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sure this can cause concern for the ordinary person. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I hope we all heard Mr. Mukhtari telling us that he doesn't know about the sensitization processes established in the law. We want him to tell us what he means by sensitization when he uses that word, that same word. What he means by the word sensitization. Tell us, and then I'll follow up with another question.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure I said I don't understand what sensitization means.
No, you said you had not taken steps to sensitize us or any Ghanaian yet before the approval was granted. That's how I understood you. You said it.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, we are very cautious in the work we do. We have been appointed as public officers to apply the law. Mr. Chairman, what is provided for in the law requires that they can only start these activities after we have given final approval. And that is why we did not think that any activities that will give the indication that the trial has started should be started until final approval has been given.
Mr. Chairman, a follow-up. You say that you do not want to mention it because those activities had not been authorized by you or your authority. I mean, the approval had not been given. So anything that had been done before that was seen to be inappropriate, improper, illegal to some extent. So that you can't sit here to mention that it is sensitization. I have agreed with you on that. That is to protect your work and your other friends. the issue about the issues raised in the statement by the Academy of Arts and Sciences, it doesn't worry you. Does it not worry you? Please. You said the issues were discussed and then cleared. And I am that among the so-called scientists. Is it not true?
Honorable member, not so-called scientists.
No,
scientists.
The scientists, sorry. I'm sorry, I withdraw that. I withdraw the so-called. And then we, those who know nothing about science, had to swallow it, even though we didn't hear you talk to us about it. That's not what you are trying to tell us. Our sensitization is not necessary. It's not part of the process. It's not part of the process. You have ironed out your differences in terms of your understanding of the subject. It was not necessary.
Mr. Chairman, I haven't said so. I have not said it is.
I am inferring.
I have not said so, no.
One last question, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. See you have used two words, and I want you to explain to me. You've used approval and you've used regulation. Can you tell me the difference between the two? And how do you regulate, how do you approve? I seem not to be getting you well.
Mr. Chairman, if I may be allowed, can I seek counsel with my lawyer?
But she's been breaching the rules.
So hold on.
Well, we won't be hard and fast about it. Feel free.
Well, that's the Chief Executive Officer of the Food and Drugs Authority, Hudu Mokhtari, testifying before Parliament's Privileges Committee in connection with certain comments allegedly made by Professor Alex Dodo. Still to come, we are yet to see Professor Dodo testify before Parliament's Privileges Committee over, well, some comments some members of Parliament have described as painting them as ignorant. We'll bring you much more on this subsequently. But moving on now, and it's an
they can go ahead and say that yes, indeed, we are really under the fully, the full deregulation pricing regime. Because gone are the days when the NPA would come out and say, well, looking at the factors on the world market and then our CD and all that, fuel prices would have to be increased by, let's say, 15%, and they will do the announcement, and it will be the same in Kumasi, the same in Accra, the same in the northern region, and all parts of the country. That's how it was done. Now, players argue that, well, it was about time that something was done to ensure that, when it comes to fuel pricing, consumers can benefit by way of competition. How does that happen? That would happen only when there is deregulation. That means that the authority is no more going to regulate the pricing, but it's going to allow the players themselves to set their own prices. And this is what we're experiencing. It started on the 15th of June, and we've seen it happen, 2 times already. This is going to be the 3rd review since it started on the 15th of June. The first 2, we saw an increase, and now we are seeing a reduction. Many would say that, well, this is the real benefits that we're talking about. And the major factors here is the fact that, yes, the city has seen some, significant appreciation. But moving on, we're expecting to see this happen in a more drastic manner. And I'm not just talking about the quantum of increase or the margin of increase and all, but it's about how it even happens. I mean, over time, depending on how soon the law would be reviewed and all that. When all that is completed, you should expect that there wouldn't be 2 weeks before a review or 1 month or a week and all that. It can actually even happen every day based on the dynamics on the part of the oil dealers.
That's 11 and 12%. I suppose we shouldn't really hope for any reduction in transport fares.
Well, that one is another issue altogether because they have argued that as far as the arrangements are concerned, they have this arrangement with governments that they will do it, 2 times every year. So they
twice
do
a
it,
year.
yes, twice a year. They do it at the beginning of a year and then
at the end of the year.
The middle of a year. That's in June, which we experienced.
Okay. My colleague Chantal Asante has been to some fuel stations here in the capital Accra, and reports fuel prices have gone down between 11 and 12% across board.
9:30 at the Total filling station here in Pig Farm, and fuel prices here have reduced by some 11%. A liter of petrol is going for 3.538 cedis as compared to the initial or the previous price of 3.979 cedis. Now I speak with some drivers here.
Yeah, there's a little bit difference. There's a difference.
Are you happy about this, or you think you are indifferent?
Well, I am indifferent because it still affects. I don't work. I just moved into the country not long ago, and whatever monies I brought in keeps going down, and there's no way I can fill it up. So for me, there's no difference. There should be a drastic fall, to be at the same level as the world price of crude oil. Otherwise, it's the same for me. There's no difference at all.
To my surprise, it's almost 16 cedis a gallon. So I think it's still expensive. Something must be done. I used to be 18 cedis, but now, as he's just telling me, to be about 16 cedis. Is that right? It should come down.
I'm happy to say right now the government reduced the petrol for all my friends. Yeah. Because I thank God say maybe the petrol come down. Because yesterday I go buy fuel for Abekan Total Free Station. They say it be 80 cedis. I buy the 1 gallon. But right now this morning I come here, they say it be 50 pesos. Or no, yeah. Because right now I'm happy.
First, when I buy 20 cedis is 5.03, but it's now 5.67. So it has been reduced.
How do you feel about this?
To me, it's very insignificant change. It will not have any impact on my business.
It's mixed reactions for many of these drivers I have interacted with today. Many of them are happy that there have been some reductions. They, however, are saying that these reductions are negligible and they would be happy to see further reductions. Well, what can we say? Some reduction is definitely better than no reduction. From the Circle Go Car Price Station, my name is Chantal Asante.
To some other stories now, and the Ghana Cocoa Board has dragged the NPP parliamentary candidate for Hemang Lower Denture constituency and 17 others to court for allegedly stealing fertilizer. Cocoa Board says the theft was linked to the parliamentary primaries held last month. Richard Kojunyakon was in court and joins us via phone with the very latest. Richard, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Now, what was the case as presented by the prosecution?
Well, the complainant in this case is Dr. Eugene Ofori-Jemfi, and he is the regional manager of the Ghana Cocoa Board in the Central Region. And he alleges that the NPP parliamentary candidate, Bright Rekubobe, Felix Kwenu, who is also the district cocoa officer, and 16 others during the nationwide NPP parliamentary constituency elections held recently distributed free cocoa fertilizer from government meant for cocoa farmers to some MPP polling station executives to enable them vote for the parliamentary candidate during the parliamentary primaries. According to the prosecutor, the distributors were arrested and the bags of fertilizers were retrieved from them. Their charges that were preferred against them in court vary. The MPP parliamentary candidate, for instance, Bright Rekudobe, has been charged for aiding and abetment of crime, while others were charged for stealing and dishonestly receiving the cocoa fertilizers. The argument the petition has been putting up in court is that 13 of the people involved in the scandal do not own cocoa farms to enable them benefit from such quantities of the cocoa package, while those who own farms had smaller farm sizes that shouldn't earn them such quantity of bags of fertilizers they received. So the number of bags in contention now are 1,201 bags, and they are valued at 201,287,000 Ghana cedis. All of them were in court and entered a not guilty charge plea. For now, each of the accused persons have been admitted to bail for various sums of money. The counsel for the defendant, Michael Atadazi, has been speaking to the press, and he declined that, or he denied that there is politics that is linked to this one.
Richard, let me ask, is this the first hearing, and how much interest has this case generated?
Well, this is the first time the case has been called. You know, the case started, they arrested all of them at their various places, and then it generated a lot of heated argument, especially before the parliamentary primaries, because some of them were arrested on the eve of the parliamentary primaries, and a lot of campaigns were done. Some of them did a campaign that the parliamentary candidate is a thief and that he does not deserve to be voted for, but nonetheless, he won the parliamentary primaries, and so it became a heated controversy, and it generated a lot of outcry in that particular constituency. So it was a kind of relief to some of them when the case was yesterday called, and so men and women were called, and they were part of the 17 persons that were arraigned before court.
Richard, let me ask, how did the Cocoa Board, for instance, become a party to this suit? How were these people stealing these products, these cocoa products?
Well, according to the Cocoa Board, these bags of cocoa, the 1,201 bags of cocoa, are part of their cocoa that were in their custody. So the officer in charge of the district could have connived with the parliamentary candidate for Himalaya Denchua to give these cocoa fertilizers to the farmers for vote. And so that is why Cocoa Board has expressed an interest, or is an interested party in this matter.
Many thanks for your time, Richard Kojonyako. That was Eastern Regional reporter Richard Kojonyako there. Now, striking state attorneys are demanding that the finance minister be called to order. According to the association, government has given the green light for the harmonization of their salaries after a meeting last week, but the finance ministry is dragging its feet in the implementation. The Association of State Attorneys announced a strike last week, demanding better working conditions.
We have not refused the call of the strike. We are only saying that we don't have any letter in our hands. We have not received any communication from Labour Commission. So we cannot act on a letter we haven't sent.
And that is not a refusal, almost like a refusal, I think. But that's not for discussion.
A refusal is when you have been requested to do something and you refuse to do it. But where is the request? We don't know. You are telling us that there's a letter. We don't know. We haven't received any letter. And we don't know what we have to act upon. There's a procedure for calling off legal strike. We embarked on legal strike. We've written 6 letters to Labour Commission. They didn't respond to any of our letters. And what we have always wanted is that a Labour Commission will give us a forum to air out our grievances, which has not been given to us. So if they are coming out to the media to say that we have refused to comply, that is incorrect. That's incorrect. We have always wanted to be at table and then iron out our differences, which we have not been given that opportunity. If they are ready now to listen to us, they must tell them, the whole Ghana, the whole world, that they are now ready. If you listen to the interview we granted yesterday to Joy TV, we actually wanted to sit down at table and settle. after, if you look at Section 160, subsection 2, after embarking on strike for over 7 days, what is left for Labour Commission to do is to ask us to come for compulsory arbitration. And that was what we told the media yesterday. And there's a procedure for going through compulsory arbitration. That procedure is spelled out under Section 164 of the Labour Act. The procedure is that the issues should be settled, the Labour Commission should serve on us, and the issues, and then let the parties agree to the issues. Okay. And the parties are first respondent, finance minister, second respondent, minister of justice, and we are the petitioner. When the issues are set down and we all agree, then compulsory arbitration begins before a 3-member committee. So you see that the procedure should be followed.
Well, the striking state attorneys say they are ready to negotiate with government. We're taking a break here on News Today. We'll be back shortly with some more. Don't go away. The Supreme Court has struck out a writ seeking to disqualify 2 members of the ruling National Democratic Congress from holding public office and party executive positions concurrently. A citizen, Kwejuga Adra, brought an action against the 2 members of the party which sought to disqualify them from holding party positions while serving as public servants. Felix Akoyam has more.
The 7-member Supreme Court panel said the 2 defendants were not civil servants and could go ahead to contest for any position in any political party in the country. Sean Poku is a lawyer for the main defendant.
This is a matter of public and national interest because now it's going to set the pace as to who can vie for any political position in their respective parties. People used to take the position that once you are working for an institution that has maybe a government background or some sort, you cannot vie for any political position in your party. But that is not the case.
Citing Article 55, Clause 2 and other constitutional provisions, the court held the 2 main defendants, NDC Chairman for Efutu and Chief Technical Officer at the Ghana Highways Authority, Lawrence Lamte, and Ernestina Yawson, are both public servants, maintaining the Constitution is clear on who can or cannot take part in active partisan politics. The bench maintained the 2 main defendants don't fall under the civil service. Minutes after dismissing the writ, Presiding Judge Sophia Akufo said the complainant could have saved the court, himself, and the defendant's time by carefully considering provisions of the Constitution that relate to this matter. Lawyer for the 2 defendants said the verdict of the court was a victory for rule of law. The defendants say the ruling vindicates them.
He's a lawyer. He should have known better. But he went further to seek the interpretation of the law. And it has been interpreted right. But the only unfortunate aspect is that he has wasted our time. But patience has been granted. We would have even fined him for wasting our time.
Because of all the stress, the time, and all the stuff. And today is the big day for Winneba in terms of constituency. We are very happy about whatever has happened there.
Lawyer for the complainant, Koko Okutu, declined to comment on the verdict.
Now, scores of residents of Old Achimota yesterday besieged the Achimota substation of the Electricity Company of Ghana to protest the worsening power situation in their area. Chanting doomsday-themed songs, the residents said the situation had become unbearable, adding it was affecting their businesses. Joy News' Kwachi Afreniama followed the demonstrating residents.
Park Day at the Achimota substation of the Electricity Company of Ghana as scores of residents of Achimota trooped here to make their complaints known to the ECG. They tell Joy News they are fed up with the erratic power supply in their area.
We are having too much light off in Achimota. For almost a week now, we don't have light over there. It came this morning, for almost, let's say about 30 minutes, it went off again. So we came here to let them explain to us why is it so.
And how bad is the situation?
Oh, very bad enough light. You know, we have barbers, hairdressers, so many. They all use light in that area. So they are suffering. They can't even work. You know, everyone must work and then eat. So it's always our concern. We have to come here to explain it to us to understand. And that's why we came here today.
In the situation in Achimota, we don't have any light for our homeworks. And when we are going to school, our irons is off. The light is off. We don't have any iron to iron our clothes. By the time we reach the school, our uniforms are folded and we don't have anything. We should have the light to do the homework, and we don't have any light to do the homework in the evening. For the next morning, we should do the homework. By the time we reach the school, we are late.
Really expecting us. First of all, I have an 8-year boy who is writing exams now. Whenever he's going to study, he has to use lamp to study, and you know that using lamp to study really affects the eyes. Moreover, the timetable, they don't really follow the timetable. If we are supposed to get light today, they'll just on it for an hour, then it will go off. We don't know if we are not part of Achimota. They just let us know, or if there is something that they want us to do, we really do it, because the big transformer is on our land. If they would give us the light, we will know what we do with the transformer. Either we burn it or we lock it up. Then no one will get light from Achimota.
Later, police officials who arrived at the scene had a tough time controlling the angry crowd. A leader of the group, Maxwell Nkansa, says they will embark on even more protests if their concerns are not addressed.
It's affecting our home appliances, our televisions, and a lot of things. So what we are saying to the ECG is that they should try as much as possible. We know it's a general problem, but they should at least sometimes the communication gap too is very bad. We have told them, and we have made it emphatic that if they don't solve the problem by today, we are going to come back, and the number is going to be multitude.
Meanwhile, the Accra West Region Office of the ECG has issued a public apology to the residents. Public Relations Officer Eric Asante blamed the situation on a technical challenge.
Obviously, informed us that most of the customers would not be happy about the services that they had during the weekend. What really happened was that we had some problems at our Malam bulk supply point, where we have majority of the customers within those catchment area being fed from that particular bulk supply point. Most of them went off for about 4 times. Came on, went off, came on, went off again. And obviously, when you experience such intermittent outages, definitely you would have such reactions from the people.
So the problem really is what? I mean, you mentioned this area issue with your Malam substation and all that. What's the problem there?
Yes, what happened was that we had some of the transformers there having some problems, and obviously when you have a problem with a transformer, definitely you have customers on that particular substation or primary substation going on. We are very sorry. We accept blame. We are the face of electricity in this country, and when customers don't experience the quality of supply, they have to. We are the point of call. We are the people to be blamed for. Although there are other factors that account for this situation that we find ourselves, but we want to tell our customers within that area that we are sorry. We are trying as much as possible to solve the problem, and very soon I think power will restore to those areas. Well,
hello, welcome to Business Segment. Ghana has in 4 months lost over $196,000 to Simbox fraud. The police CID has arrested 3 people: Selassie Dofenyo, 23 years, Nicholas Inchu, 16 years, and Eric Akpanya, 30 years. Police say they were arrested at Tema Community 12 while they were busily scratching and loading cards. COP Prosper Ablo is Director General of the Criminal Investigations Department.
The task force conducted a search at the premises and retrieved 2 SIM boxes, 700 MTN cards, 100 Airtel and MTN top-up cards, 1 generator, 2 heavy-duty batteries, 1 UPS, 1 laptop, and 1 mini tablet, and 16 antennas. He told investigators that a yet-to-be-identified Lebanese national is his partner. The suspects diverted this amount into their private escrow account abroad. An MTM distributor, who is an accomplice, has been identified, and efforts are being made to arrest him. The Criminal Investigations Department is serving notice to other perpetrators of SIM-box fraud that the Communication Task Force is equipped with modern gadgets to locate their hideouts, and that we shall continue to pursue them until SIM-box fraud is brought to its barest minimum, if not completely eradicated.
He also asked telcos and the public to be on alert for fraudsters.
Most recent arrest at Tema Community 12 found about 700 SIM cards in packaged boxes from a major SIM card distributor. We count on the police to investigate further the registration details of these SIM cards and activation of such numbers for this illegal bypass of international traffic. The NCA reminds the general public to look out for especially persons who buy volumes of SIM cards and avoid registration of these SIM cards. The general public is encouraged to report any suspicions on SIM card acquisition to the nearest community police station, and also to send us a text to a local number received from a foreign call to short code 419. The NCA appreciates the work of the Ghana Police Service, the commitment of the CID, and the cooperation of police of the service providers to combat against illegal termination in Ghana.
There was a standoff between workers of Starwin Products Limited and the police earlier today. The police, acting on a court order, prevented workers from entering the premises. This is the second time that workers have demonstrated against the merger with pharmaceutical giant Danex. The workers, who say they are minority shareholders, have secured an injunction against the takeover.
Around 4 a.m. that I had a call from the security at the post telling me that there have been about 20 policemen and other people who are trying to enter into the yard. So I instructed him that he shouldn't open the gate for them until I come. I got here around 5. And I realized that there was about 20 policemen and other officers that I don't know them. What is happening is that last week there was this court order restraining the Danex people, which is Amatefio and the Renville Otabe and the rest coming here. But just this morning, we don't know what happened. When we came, they are preventing us, about 100 workers going inside to work. We're thinking that and the substantive case is supposed to be held on Tuesday, which is 21st July. That has not come. We were here this morning, and this was come that they are coming to take over.
What the problem is that Danex claims to have taken over the company, and the directors and some other shareholders said no. The alleged process through which they took over, they claim to have taken over, was fraught with illegalities, and the matter is before the High Court. If you remember, a week today, they came here around 2 p.m. The police were misled. When they came, we showed them the processes, and they went back. Only for us to come this morning, the first since I joined this company, and even I think that in the history of Ghana, that workers will go to work and find armed policemen, preventing them from entering. Meanwhile, they break our main gate and allow some foreigners, I call them foreigners because they are not employees, we don't know them, to enter. Whatever order they say they have from the court preventing us from entering, they themselves tell me they have not yet seen a copy.
General Secretary of the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, Solomon Kote, intervened.
We are not strangers to the issues of Starwin. Yes. We are aware about the contention at the board. Yes. Minority and majority shareholders. Yes. Majority want to take over, minority say no. The issue have taken a legal twist. And once the matter moves to court, all of us must be in compliance on the court directives. The assurance from the National Union is that we will ensure whatever due process should give us what we deserve, and under circumstance, we will get it. One of them is this: if in the process of takeover, we are not willing and not ready to get along, and they should pay us off, they should pay us and let us go. If on the other hand, the minority is going to retain its status and allow this business to continue, our working life continue with starving. Finally, because we have received about 4 different court rulings, each of the rulings that came, an appeal, an injunction have been made left and right. At the moment, we had an injunction, is it this week or last week? Last week. This morning, a fresh summons have been served. If you know the legal terrain, a lower court can give a ruling, a higher court can be served with an appeal, and it run to the Supreme Court. At the moment, we are heading towards...
An Accra High Court has adjourned to 23rd July the hearing of the case brought by SIC Insurance to stop Ivory Finance from selling the bank's assets. Ivory Finance secured a court order to take over and sell SIC's assets to offset a debt of 232 million cedis owed them. But the state insurer is seeking a suspension of the judgment. George Rafi has returned from court and joins us. So, George, tell us what happened in court today.
Well, the case was called, but it looks like counsel for Ivory Finance wasn't there. The reason was that his indisposed is not well, so the judge had to move the case to July 23 for a final ruling. His argument was that he need all the parties present in court before he passes a judgment on this particular issue.
And what did the counsel for SIC say about all this?
Well, they were surprised at the development, and they think that they have a strong case, and that when the case is called come July 23, they believe that they'll come out as victorious. But again, some would want to ask the implications of this. That don't forget that the longer this case delays, there's an interest that is building up on the debt. The 232 million Ghana cedis you spoke about had to do it as far back as June this year. So as long as these issues delay in terms of resolving this issue or getting a final issue, final more ruling on this, the interest on this debt is building up, and it might not be good for SIC. Also, it's brought about some uncertainties, because don't forget that if any investor want to transact business with SIC, because of this particular ruling, they might want to wait a while and see how things will pan out before. So it is not good for SIC. It is also not good for Ivory Finance, or maybe more of a damage for SIC when this case drags in court.
So those are implications, but we'll see what happens July 23rd. Thank you very much, George. And that's it for the business segment. With me, Francisca Kakra-Forson.
Good afternoon to you wherever you are. My name is Benedict Ozu, and still here on News Today, and it's now time to talk sports. I will start from the stables of the Ghana Football Association, and the Accra Fast Track Court has placed an injunction on the presidential election, which is slated for August 17. A legal practitioner lawyer, John Kwesen, has filed an ex-party injunction application to halt all activities concerning the Football Association's upcoming elections. Now, lawyer Kwesen is seeking an interpretation as to why the district and the regional level elections would not be held before the main FA presidential elections.
Serve them with writ of summons and a statement of claim. Do you understand? But before the substantive matter is determined, there are issues confronting us. So all we had to do was to tell the court that yes, we have pulled the GFA before you for determination of certain issues. But then, during the pendency of the substantive case, which that too might have taken 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, the law gives us the opportunity that in the interim, you could ask for an interim injunction. The injunction we have two, the interim one and then the permanent one.
What does this mean? Does this mean that you are stopping the elections from going ahead?
Of course, exactly so. When there's an injunction, it means everything kaput.
Well, so we still stay with the Ghana Football Association elections, which before the injunction was slated for the August 17 in Tamale. It is now obvious that incumbent Kwesi Nyantakyi would not go unopposed as earlier suggested. Now, this comes after a lady picked up a nomination form at the FA's headquarters yesterday. Ofebia Ramatu Abdullahi, in her mid-30s, is relatively unknown to football administration and has faced quite a lot of criticism from the football public. Now, the self-acclaimed football coach and businesswoman must meet the requirement of having her form endorsed by 10 club officials tomorrow's deadline for submission. She insists her decision is no publicity stunt and seems very determined to prove her critics wrong.
Ghana football is supposed to move forward, but instead it's retrogressing. What are the problems? What can we do to solve Ghana football? What can we do to solve the problems? What did Kwesi do, and what hasn't he done? And what can Ofebia do? And what is Ofebia about to do? How can we support? How can we help her bring what she has to bring to Ghana football on board? What is happening to our local football? What is happening to our coast football? What is happening to women football? What are the problems? How do we identify the problems? And what are the solutions to the problems?
So that was Ofebia Ramatu, who wants to contest for the Ghana Football Association presidency. Now, an executive committee member of the Football Association, Madam Linia Adi, says the introduction of more competitions for women in football will develop the women's game tremendously in Africa. Aside the CAF Women's Championship on the continent, there is no other competition for the ladies and their counterparts in Europe aside their domestic leagues participate in the UEFA Women's Champions League and a host of other competitions. For Linia Adi, who returned from Canada just last week after participating in a FIFA symposium on developing women's football, says football laws in Africa must create more competitions to develop the women's game.
I believe we must also put in our effort. That's what we are also asking, that we have just come back from a symposium. Our recommendations and proposals must be looked at and if in any way be accepted so that we can also match. And when every tournament is in place, our names will also be mentioned. So issues that we have gone to discuss at this symposium, budget for women's football, does it come anywhere close to the men? And then do we allow our women to get to the men's camp for them to even take pictures together? The US team and the female team, the male team and female team take pictures together and they use that for promotional purposes. The English team, you realize that even the clubs, Arsenal and others have female clubs that they play in their league, they play Champions League. But in Africa, we don't have Champions League for women. So it is something that we must all learn and take a cue from it and introduce more competitions for women. If we do that, we'll be able to make an impact when we get to the world level.
That was Linia Adi. Linia Adi is a member of the Ghana Football Association and she happens to be the chairman of the Black Queens Management Committee. Now, Kumasi Asante Kotoko head coach David Duncan has in recent times faced a lot of criticism and even mockery for failing to win a major silverware, especially the Ghana Premier League title. He came close to doing that 5 years ago with Ashanti Gold, but it was denied on the last day of the competition. Duncan could result after guiding Kotoko to the final of this year's MTN FA Cup final. But the tough-talking coach reminded all about his trophy-laden coaching career.
Interestingly, I also consider the other trophies, that I have won of some repute, because I mean they have international dimension. If you win a cup against Sundowns, people say that kind of thing, but I don't think that I lose sleep over it, because if you play against Sundowns, if you recall 2006, we went there with a crowd of folk, South Africa Invitational Tournament. We took care of a team like Sundowns that was being coached by Gordon Ingerson of our coaches, and then again with Free State Stars, if you could win, Pakistan tournament, if you could win against the likes of Isaac Chiefs, being coached at the time by a Tugra Mushin, those are the kind of competitions when you win, you realize that you've been to. You know how our league goes. Somebody plays against another person, it is another kind of thing. Some people do not want to play Champions League. So the dynamics, I don't lose sleep over not winning what you describe as major tournament. The kind of trophies that I've won, I cherish them. I hold them very dear to my heart. Even though I am pursuing these ones as well, because of course, I am in.
Statement today, Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has pledged to support Nollywood in tackling piracy.
Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has vowed to save the country's entertainment industry from pirates. He said that Nollywood film industry was doing well, but unless it was backed, it would be ruined by pirates. The industry is worth some $5 billion, but filmmakers still struggle to make a profit because of piracy. Now, despite being hastily shot on low budgets, their focus on love, betrayal, and witchcraft is hugely popular across Africa. President Buhari ordered security agencies to identify those involved in copyright piracy and bring them to justice. Nollywood is not the only industry affected by the problem. Producers in Kannywood, the Hausa language film industry based in the northern city of Kano, are also complaining and had asked the president to intervene. Mr. Buhari said he would do everything possible to protect the entertainment industry. Quotes, they have built an industry with their own sweat. It is therefore incumbent incumbent on us to give them the necessary support. Now, Nigeria's film industry analysts believe that Nollywood is churning out up to 50 films a week. However, most of these movies are sold straight to DVD, and filmmakers struggle to make a profit.
Well, that'll be it for the entertainment news segment, proudly brought to you by Airtel. In international news today, rich and poor countries have agreed to overhaul global finance for international development and unlock money to end global poverty. The United Nations announced the deal on its website following 3 days of negotiations in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The deal to finance new sustainable development goals will be adopted by world leaders in September. It also sets ambitious targets to protect the environment and, quote, improve economic opportunity by 2030. Well, that'll be it for news today here on Joy News Multi TV. My name is Kobna Chenchehine Boateng. Before we go, though, I run through our headline stories. And the Ghana Cocoa Board has dragged the NPP's parliamentary candidate for Hemang Lower Dencha, Bright Rekubrobi, and 17 others to court for allegedly stealing fertilizer. Well, for more news, do well to log on to myjournline.com.